everyone, so today I'm in a different decor. As you can see, I'm actually in my guest bedroom because that's where we keep our bookshelves with all the books, and I have to confess that actually 95% of everything that you see is mine. I love reading, as you probably know, and I've decided to talk a little bit more about books and reading on this channel. So today I'm going to do my spring reading list. I'm going to talk about books that I've read, books that I'm currently reading, and what I plan to read in the coming weeks. So first of all, let's talk about the books that I've recently read and loved. The first one is Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon. This is such a great book. This is the story of Maddie, and she has this illness, which basically means that she can't go outside. She's basically allergic to everything, and anything that comes from the outside might kill her. And someday a new family moves into the house next door, and there's this boy that she kind of observes, and they begin to chat online, and the rest is just history. This is such a great book. It was very moving, it was beautifully written, it was the cliffhanger is just so powerful, and I absolutely loved. I think there is a new one that I saw on Amazon by the same author that I really want to read as well, and this was such a great book. I highly recommend it. The next book that I'm going to talk about was a tough read for me. This is still Alice by Genova, and I'm yet to watch the movie, but this is basically the story of Alice, who has early on Alzheimer's disease, and this was pretty tough for me to read because I actually lost one of my grandfather to Alzheimer's disease 16 years ago now, 17 years ago, nearly 17 years ago. So this was pretty hard to read. That being said, it is a beautiful book. I think it describes the disease very well. It's very true, and it's something, although it was hard to read, I'm so glad I did because I learned a lot, and it was just great. So in case you're interested in something not so light but very good, I highly recommend it. I really want to watch a movie because I've heard that it's as good as the book, so I'm very curious. And the last book that I've recently finished is Brave Enough by Cheryl Strayed. Now Cheryl is the author of Wild, which I'm sure you've all heard about, or maybe you read the book or you saw the movie. Both the book and the movie are incredible, and that book really changed me. I think I read it, was it last summer or the summer before, but I found it so powerful. So this is basically Brave Enough, a mini instruction manual for the soul, and I didn't know what to expect when I ordered this book. I tend to order all of my books on Amazon just because we have Amazon Prime and I can get books in English because, as you know, I speak French in real life. And by the way, if you want to hear more about the books that I've read and that I plan on reading that are in French, you can click on that. It will take you to the French version of this video, basically. But this book is filled with quotes and just reflection from the author on everyday life, growing up, being a woman. It's very interesting. I found some really good quotes that I actually wrote down in my bullet journal just because I wanted to be able to come back to these again and again. Not everything made sense to me, but I'm sure some things that were really true and powerful for me won't be the same for you, and vice versa. But this was very interesting. You can read it pretty much in one sitting, and this is just a great thing to pick up at the bookstore. I'm currently reading a book that I never thought I would read. Basically, the story behind why I got this book is that last summer I read Yeonmi Park's book, how is it called? In Order to Live, and that's basically the story of Yeonmi Park, who left North Korea. She escaped North Korea, and she talks about her childhood there and how everyday life was, and her life once she escaped and all of that. So before I read that kind of book, I thought that it was just something, it was kind of a bestseller just because it was buzzing at the moment. I was pleasantly surprised with the book. It was so powerful, so moving. I learned a ton, although I thought that I knew quite a bit about North Korea, I really didn't. So I decided to pick this book. So this is I'm Malala by Malala Yousafsai. I'm sorry if I'm butchering her name. And you probably heard about her in the news a couple of years ago. She was shot by the Taliban in Pakistan just because she was going to school as a girl, and she actually won the Nobel Prize. I'm not sure which year, but I totally remember seeing her on the news. And when I saw this book, I thought, yeah, it's just one of those things that you see on the news and people jump on it, it's absolutely not like that. She's such a sweet girl. She talks about growing up in Pakistan, she talks about the Taliban, how everything affected the area that she used to live in. She talks about the shocking wave after 9/11. This is very interesting. I'm nearly halfway through, but I'm loving it. I spend all of my free time just watching TV interviews with her on YouTube. She actually did a great interview with Emma Watson, so I'll make sure to link that down below in case you're interested. But this book is so good. I've learned a lot of things that I totally ignored. This is not kind of a subject that I'm really into, that I know a lot of, but I'm really interested, I'm learning a lot, and I highly recommend it. Finally, these are the 3 books that I really want to read sometime soon. The first one is by Caitlin Moran, How to Build a Girl, and this was very highly recommended on Goodreads. It had some great reviews as well. From what I know, it's the story of a teenage girl and she just wants to reinvent herself, become someone new, and it's supposed to be very interesting, so I'm curious to try that. And the next one that I have is The Version of Us by Laura Barnett. I talked about this is in one of my book hauls, and I'm actually gonna have a new one soon because I made a big order on Amazon UK because you had 3 paperbacks for £10, so that's a pretty good deal. This is basically a book about what can happen if you say yes, what can happen, just one small change can impact everything. It's kind of like the butterfly effect from what I've heard, so curious to read that. And the last one is by Morgan Matson, The Unexpected Everything. This always come up as a recommendation on Goodreads and on my Amazon like suggestions down below. I'm not too sure what this is about. Oh yeah, it's a girl that went through a scandal and she has to learn to live with that. Is that, yeah? She had her whole life planned for her and she goes through something that has to change everything. So basically she cannot plan what's coming up, so I'm very curious to read that because I'm actually that kind of person that always plan everything, and when something doesn't happen I'm like all upset and stressed out. So I'm very curious to try to read it. I keep saying try it, I mean read it. It's just because I'm so used to talking about beauty products and stuff like that. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you want to see the French version of it, you can click on that, or you can click down below in the description box. I'll make sure to pop the link. If you're watching that on my blog, you can just click onto the French flag on the right side sidebar. That will take you straight to the post. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any book recommendation, make sure to leave that in the comments down below. If you want to follow me on Goodreads, feel free to do so. I'll put the link just right here so you can go and check out what I'm currently reading. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next time everyone. Bye!